Brian Stratford, building designer from Infill. I want to talk to you today about the new project you're doing on a 156 square metre block.
It is a tiny block, it's actually 12 months ago this week that I was in Japan. I soon realised that 156 square metre block is not that small. What we can do with it, what you can do with the space, and what we expect out of our space, I suppose. It can vary based on what you need, what your use is for the site and what you're going to do. Like a lot of Bendigo, the orientation is not very good. We have a lot of the 45-degree main streets and things running, following the old miners' tracks and things like that. And when you're dealing with a smaller site, we don't have a lot of option to rotate a building to face it to the north and those sorts of things. So in absence of good orientation, we look at what else we can do to compensate. It is a two-storey home, and one of the things that we're looking for is to insulate as effectively as we could. Some of those strategies that we've used obviously will be double glazing and good bulk insulation throughout the building, including what's called a waffle pod slab. So the concrete slab has a styrene between the ground and the concrete, which is it's referred to as decoupling. It's disconnecting the cold ground from the concrete, so it doesn't lower the temperature of your building. We've also used a styrene cladding on the upper level. It's lightweight. You can render over the top of it to get a nice finish, and it just takes that level of insulation to that upper space, just to that next step, that sort of thing. And then we can just look at which direction that hot afternoon summer sun comes from, and just how to deal with it as best we can, and get as much light airiness into the building as we can. To show the northwest and the west elevations as best we can, and there's virtually no glazing along those westerly elevations at all. We just try to not invite the sun, insulated as best we can. We are in the middle of town, and there is neighbourhood character. There's heritage overlay on the site as well, which is fantastic. It just protects the area from not sort of overdeveloping it too much, and just respecting what's there and trying to work with it. And so we welcome that. As part of our project, we went straight to straight into council and sat with them, talked about our project before putting pen to paper, discussed it with the heritage advisors, went out on site with them and everything. So City of Greater Bendigo have been fantastic. There's a multitude of clauses within planning schemes that need to be addressed and complied with and understood, and really be able to have that discussion around why and how, and what the purpose of why we're doing what we're doing. So it's sitting waiting to burst into life. So let's have a look at, first of all, I've actually used images from the design on our website for Ink Block, and here we have the building. It's actually a building which is sitting in Forest Lane, and if we go to have a look at the CAD file, you may recognise some of the buildings here, and on the top of View Street we have the old doctor's surgery designed by the early architect Beebe, which is a beautiful building, and I just couldn't resist modelling it up and taking the opportunity to look at the intricate detail of how it all works. It also gives an idea as to how the neighbourhood is sitting, what buildings are around, Here we are on the corner of Barnard and Forest Lane. And this is our subject house on the corner. And we're looking to subdivide in the backyard.
It's very challenging, 150 square metres. That would, you would find that in Sydney lanes and Melbourne lanes. So very encouraging that it's happening in Bendigo.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of interest in the site, yeah, we think it's a real step forward. A lot of people do like to have their space around them, and they do like to have their yards. But particularly once you're in the centre of town, particularly so close to the arts area, then we do tend to get a call for this sort of project. And as part of this project, we would put together, what we do is a bit of a transparent model, working with, there's a lot of regulations around setbacks that you can and can't do, and we need to be mindful of what's being demolished, how we can impact on the houses around us, and not overlooking anybody, not casting shadows in people's yards, things like that. We just try to be as respectful as we can to everybody around. We can then design the building within that space. These are virtually the finished plans for the project. We've got the backyard. It looks quite small. It is quite small. The existing house has also got a generous, it's a nearly 9 metre setback off Barnard Street. So it's about creating and using that space out the front of the existing residence, so we can still have our garden, can still work with it, as well as provide the smaller footprint home in the backyard. So we've specified to reuse the cream bricks to create a new side fence. So what's being demolished, we're trying to reuse what we can. So it's about, recycle, reuse all the way through. We then go through and document the plans all the way through, all the plan, specifying all the components. North is sort of in this direction, and we've got east over here. So the morning sun is rising and hitting the front of the building. We've got an upper level balcony there. So in the mornings, it's a large sliding glass door out onto a balcony. The living areas are upstairs. So it's a real morning house. The afternoon, when we've got that hot northwesterly sun coming in from this side over here, we're just trying to keep away minimal amount of glass that we can, just to prevent that heat impact. So it's about trying to get the winter sun in and providing the light and the warmth where we can, and then protecting ourselves in the summertime. It's a 2-bedroom. We've got 2 bathrooms, and upper level there is completely just an open space with a smaller kitchen, pantry, a little study area. Trying to future-proof a building is about providing a spot for car charge in the garage, just allowing for the it needs a particular switch within the meter box so that we can connect the car charge at a later date. The brick veneer is good in that you can just buy windows off the shelf. You're not looking to get special orders and things like that. That's what I talk about, the economy of the brick veneer, and keeping things in standard modules and working with, the standard widths of the roll of carpet, the size that a sheet of plastic comes in. These are the things that can make a huge difference when designing. There is view up the top here out across the building. You can see the cathedral. We don't have any mountains, or we don't have a beach to look out at in Bendigo, so the old cathedral is a pretty good aspect to see, particularly at night when you can it's all lit up. It's beautiful.